Hello, Ray Lee with Speedboat Magazine here with another episode of the Boats and Bros podcast with my bro Myrick Coil, all the way from Missouri. And we've got my colleagues, photographer Tom Leigh of Tommy Gun Images and videographer Carter Bahde of Havasu Media Productions. Hey, boys.
How's it going, Ray?
What's up, Ray?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, so these guys are generally the team that I travel with when we cover events across the country and throughout the year. And in my opinion, they're the best in the industry. And Tom and Carter, they work together very well together, have been for a long time. And I'm proud to have them on the Speedboat team. And Myrick has experience with them too.
Yeah, they hang out the helicopters and tell us what we did wrong while we drove the boat. Too fast, too slow. Usually too fast.
Never too slow.
Yeah. I was just thinking, are you two related since you both have the same last name?
No.
Totally different lead.
Oh, I see. Spelling's different and everything.
Yeah.
Because of the resemblance.
Although a lot of people think that his last name is Leigh, my dear friend Tom Leigh, but it's not, right? It's Leigh, L-E-I-G-H.
It is Leigh, yes.
Exactly. Yeah, we are very close. We do spend a lot of time together, for sure.
All right, so Tommy and Carter have been working together long before they started working with me at Speedboat. Tom, why don't you tell us how you and Carter first started working together? Because the age difference is quite different for all of us.
Yeah, right.
He's the youngin'.
Yeah, Carter's a young buck around here for sure, by a long shot. I had been out on Lake Havasu doing boat photography for several years before I met Carter, and I did some stuff for a website out there, and had done worked a little bit for DCB and some of the other brands, and was introduced to Carter, out of that crowd, kind of being around the Havasu boating scene, and Carter was also doing some video work for the website that I was working with, and so we were in proximity with each other and worked on some projects, on some different boat shoots and a lot of events, Desert Storm and things like that.
Both of you guys lived in Lake Havasu, and
we both live in Lake Havasu City, right? Mm-hmm. So just we'd seen each other around. We'd worked a little bit with each other on some of the events, and Carter was young. He was I think still in high school when we met, but he already had a roster of clients that he was working with, and he's working for River Dave's Place, and he was also doing stuff for Desert Land Group, which is a big development group out here that developed the Havasu Riviera, where we do a lot of work at. Carter was well on his way, even though he was still in high school, and he was, I think, just out of high school when I was working for an off-road race team, and they were looking for some video coverage of some of the races, and so I asked him if he wanted to go to the races with us, and he wasn't sure about being in the dirt, but he said yes, luckily, and so we did our first race. Our first desert race together was kind of our first trip together, and we've been at it ever since. So it's been almost 10 years we've been doing this. So yeah,
wow.
So yeah, it's been wild.
That's cool.
Yeah. Carter, how did you get into videography?
Just kind of started doing some videos actually for the high school. I grew up in Lake Havasu, and then just kind of dabbled in some real estate stuff, and then got hooked up, with Desert Land Group. They did the Riviera there, and then kind of did some video stuff for River Dave, some boating stuff, and that's kind of where I met Tommy, and he kind of brought me on board for that off-road team, which was quite an experience, being around helicopters and off-road cars, and it was a pretty cool experience being able to go right into shooting, really cool stuff right out of the bat. So that definitely helped, and so yeah it's been a ride.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
Carter wasn't. I don't think Carter actually knew what I was getting him into when I brought him into the desert race scene. But he learned pretty quick. Yeah,
yeah, I had never been in a helicopter, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah. So his first experience working outside of Lake Havasu was chasing a trophy truck through the Nevada desert in a Bell 206, and yeah. Yeah, Carter. I don't know, for those that don't know Carter. Carter has one speed basically, and it's beach time. He likes his shorts and flip flops, and that's his preferred apparel, and that's what he rocked at the first desert race, even though it was about 30 degrees. So he's
he had his flip flops on in the desert.
100%.
and shorts.
We're running around through the desert, and Carter's just out there in his flip flops, and yeah, not care in the world.
Off-road
like, yeah, it's pretty cold. I'm like, yeah,
off-road flip flops. Yeah, blow a
flip
tire.
boots.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I mean, Tommy, I'd obviously seen you around, shooting photography, covering the same events in Havasu as we would. And I remember seeing Carter for the first time on the docks of the London Bridge Resort shooting alongside you. And what's cool that I see about your guys' dynamic, because of the age difference, because you're kind of like brought him in, you're not only his mentor, I see you as almost like a secondary father figure, a big brother, and a best friend. And you guys, in that respect,
100%, he totally is.
Yeah, I'm like the fun uncle, I guess. I don't know. Yeah,
there you go.
His family kind of took me under their wing. I don't have any family in Lake Havasu, and so Carter's family took me in and adopted me, and so that's where I spend all my holidays, and obviously Carter and I work together all the time, so it's a pretty cool deal. We get to go do some fun stuff together.
Yeah, and you guys get to do all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, like I've talked to you before about I remember one time you were talking about leaving and you were going to do a car rally, and then obviously you guys, what are some of the other things you do? I
mean, boy, it's all over the board. I mean, Carter and I have shot weddings together. We're doing car rallies, road rallies.
You're leaving in a couple of days on one.
Yeah, in fact, on Friday we leave to do a 1,000-mile vintage car rally. It's all vintage sports cars, and so we chase those guys 1,000 miles through Arizona and usually Utah, and just photograph their whole event for them. We've done that. We've done commercial shoots before. We both worked on stuff for Mercury Racing. We've done some stuff we just did some stuff for a cattle ranch. We've done a couple of cattle ranches, actually, now that I think about it.
Did you wear your flip-flops out there? Any cow pies?
I have boots on, actually. Yeah. I'm starting to learn slowly.
Yeah, you didn't want that squish between his toes.
Took him 10 years, but he finally has some closed-toed shoes.
Yeah. Every shoot's different, that's for sure.
When we're on events, we have two sayings that we say that always holds true. Like, it's always something, because something always happens. And another one is, nobody listens to Tommy. And because Tom tells Carter stuff, and he is so resistant because Carter was not born in Havasu, but might as well have been, because he's been in Havasu so long that when he's like Country Mouse getting into the city, he gets like shell shocked and doesn't want to come out of his comfort zone. And I mean, whether it's wear shoes or pants, when
traffic.
It's really cold, traffic. Carter still trips out on traffic.
He's a beach kid, 100%.
Yeah. So no matter how many times you tell, and it's crazy. It's almost sad because he's now, wearing shoes and pants and like,
right.
It's
not near as fun.
Learning eventually.
He's growing up.
Yeah, he's all grown up.
Yeah, definitely get to have some cool experiences hanging out with you too. So.
Yeah, every time we turn around, the most true part is it's always something. Literally every single trip, there's something that's awry.
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we've been through some crazy stuff, and the years we've been working together, it's been quite a few already. And but Carter, why don't you talk about like the first time you worked for us here at Speedboat?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was here in Havasu, I believe, for Desert Storm, and man, yeah, great experience. You know, we had the helicopter and of course the models, which is always fun. But yeah, I love, you know, the whole program's just really cool, you know, being around it and the people. It's just it's pretty awesome. And the way you kind of organize everything and have a plan together and it all goes so smoothly and just makes our job easier. And so it's really fun. Yeah. Yeah.
On paper, it's supposed to go smoothly.
That's
But
what we
again,
try to portray.
it's always something, right?
But behind the scenes,
Ray
it's a little
is
crazy.
very prepared. Ray always has
That helps.
everything
Yeah.
planned and bullet pointed, and it's like we're doing this. We know what time we're doing everything. We know what we're wearing. We don't have to think. Actually, we just show up with our cameras and bring our stuff with us.
He's like Mr. Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got it figured out. He's got it.
But it makes our job easier for sure. Yep.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I appreciate that, guys.
2 questions I have. What time do we have to be there and what shirt am I wearing? And I'm pretty good. Then he just points me in the right direction.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, usually Myrick and Bob, like it's a race to see who's going to text me those questions first, and so I try and get ahead of it, but I don't always succeed. But that's the thing is, you know, that's what I try to do is just as best we can, you know, portray ourselves as professionally as we can, be in matching gear and you know, never be an idiot or out of control type thing. So.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome to be at some of those shoots and, you know, a person roll up and say they're in a boat, or if it's even in a parking lot when we're doing a review, they're like, what's going on here? Is there a race? Is there a boat show? And like, no, we're just doing, you know, evaluations, blah, blah. And like, oh, wow, that's cool. You know, like they stumbled upon something that was really neat. So I always enjoy that.
Yeah, the program kind of makes a scene for sure. You got the trailer with Speedboat on the side of it, tent, girls running around and boats everywhere, and
helicopters,
helicopters, drones.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
Definitely a scene.
Bob,
yeah. Bob always draws a crowd for sure.
Everybody going, hey, Bob.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob.
then we get off-duty Myrick, and that's always fun.
At the martini bar.
Yeah. That's
we
our
work
jam.
hard and play hard.
That's our jam, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
We always got to go there and get a espresso martini.
Absolutely.
They're pretty tasty.
Jacked up after the Shogun Steakhouse.
Yep. Then go to Martini Bay.
That's right.
That's awesome. Yep.
Which, Myrick, I think you should put in an application at Shogun this year. See, you know, bring your outfit and.
Yeah. And I you know, hanging with Ray.
They got his picture on the wall.
Yeah, don't serve this guy. No more sake bombs for him.
Watch it for shenanigans.
Yeah. Ray buys I forget what he bought. Bought us a gift, and I don't know whether it was a laser pointer or a spotlight.
It was the phone charger, but it came in a case that had a little laser pointer or flashlight.
Like a strobe flashlight.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
It's if somebody has epilepsy, you're gonna put them into it like an SOS, you know, on the stupid thing. And so then I forget. Somebody was saying, you know, who's he? You know, like didn't like me being there, being an ass.
Yeah,
who's this guy?
And Bob
knew him. And Bob's like introduced me, like, oh, you don't know him? Come over here. I'm like, great.
I love it.
The guy that they already don't like. Let's bring him right in your face.
Pour some gas on it. Come on.
Yeah.
I could not stop laughing.
Yeah, but anyway, there's a lot of other meals that haven't had that happen.
That's true.
Yep.
Shogun is special though.
Yeah, so Ray bought me the outfit since, you know, Shogun Steakhouse is like the mainstay when we go out there for an event in Havasu. And, you know, now that I'm getting more culturally correct, it's a Japanese chef, which, you know, I obviously, yeah, I don't know the whole
It's
culture
a
behind
restaurant.
that. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, Japanese outfit, and I'm sure he'll put up my stupid picture again that on the stupid podcast because he has it in his arsenal to embarrass Myrick.
I saw that video, but what were you cooking?
Oh, it was because we didn't have hash browns, and I was dying for hash browns. There was tater tots.
Frozen tater tots, right?
And they were frozen tater tots. So, and to be able to smash tater tots into a hash brown, you have to thaw them. So they were on there thawing to then be smashed. Yeah, no, but it was breakfast I was cooking. But yeah, I don't know any Japanese breakfast.
Yeah,
it wasn't. The hash browns sucked. But everything else was good. The bacon and eggs, and we're a master of French toast on that thing. I'm telling you what, the French toast.
Oh yeah,
and you got to get that cinnamon toast crunch. They sell it in the seasoning section. So you put cinnamon toast crunch on the stuff. Kennedy, my daughter, she is the master of battering it up, and then I'm the master of burning it. So we got it down.
Team effort.
Yeah, Kennedy, I was telling them about your French toast and how bomb it is.
Grandma taught me how.
Grandma taught her how. So
yeah, Grandma's recipe. That's perfect.
That's right. Another kid coming in.
What's up?
They were out. I was coming down the hill earlier, and they were on their little electric scooters flying down the road. So,
oh wow,
they just rolled back. They just rolled back in. Yeah, they were acting like Havasu kids. No rules, just tear it up.
Yeah,
I remember
it's been rowdy out here.
Yeah, I remember being in a gas station there. It was just in the morning, middle of the day, and I was sitting there. I think I was buying a phone charger, but just sitting there, kind of unpackaging it and putting it in. This kid comes in a dirt bike, like flying over the curb. He was probably 10 or 11 years old, slides it up and leans the dirt bike up against the gas station. And there's a cop right there, like sitting there, you know? And I'm like, oh, this is going to go down. The cop didn't even do nothing. He was just like, this is like, dude, if you did that where I'm from, you know, wherever I've lived, that ain't going to pass. They're going to be like, the hell are you doing? You know, can't be flying around.
Place, man.
It's a loose program out here.
It's dope. I mean, I could see I've got some neighbors that moved. I mean, just by coincidence, just down the road, and it's pretty wild because they moved from Havasu to here, and just recently, maybe 2 years now, they've got boys that are actually, one of them works with me, and he's 17 or 18, and then his younger brother's Preston's age, like 15, 16, and you drive by their house. And it's just literally black marks in front of their house everywhere. It looks like a drag strip. And then, you know, and then there's like stand-up jet skis in the front driveway, which you don't see them around here very often. And then there's, you know, bikes and all kinds of shit going on. And you're like, you would, if you went by, you would like, man, they look like they're from Havasu, and you would nail it. You know? It's hilarious.
Giveaway.
Yeah.
Carter would be in that stand-up jet ski gang for
oh,
sure.
Yeah, those are my homies there. I love that.
Yeah. The one kid was going to court the other day because he did a wheelie on his dirt bike in front of a cop. I forget the whole story. I wish somebody was around now when nobody's around, when I can't remember the details. But so then he like gunned it to outrun the cop, and then he got an evading and a loony, and then I forget whether he got resisting arrest or something, or the cop smacked him or something. It was a hell of a story. I can't remember the exact details, but I'm like, what happened? You know, it's like, if Preston did that, he'd be dead when he got home by me, you know? But anyway, I
Yeah.
forget
Yeah,
what. I'll
Yeah,
have to
we
ask
run
Preston when he comes
from
in.
Havasu. They're going to get
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
program out here.
Yeah,
That's cool.
the West Coast boating's definitely different as well. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, what gets me
Mm.
is when you go out there and everybody does their
Mhm.
gets their rocks off, goes out for an hour, hour and a half, and then comes back to the channel or goes to, what do they call it, Steamboat, or goes to
Mhm.
different coves, and then they're there most of the day, except for maybe one more blast or maybe just back to the trailer after that, compared to boating all day long. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
that was different for
Well,
me, but it's still fun.
when you only have a lake that's about 30 miles long, I mean, you got to take a
Yeah.
break
Mhm.
in
And
between.
only 2 or 3 destination places
Yeah,
on
yeah, you
different
might
ends of
see
the lake.
laps on it all day long, but yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
you're just
yeah,
seeing the
that
same
and
stuff over and over.
the wind can pick up like every afternoon. It seems like the wind picks up
Mhm.
there. So a lot of the boats that are out there are, a lot of them are running on race gas and, might not have that much freeboard, and you don't want to get swamped. I've seen some videos of like when a
Mhm.
windstorm does blow in, it can get crazy, crazy nasty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
it sinks a lot of boats out
Mhm.
here. It's a little
Yeah,
different
for sure.
program out here.
Yeah.
It's cool. So you guys have obviously been in a lot of different situations, and obviously one of the coolest
Mhm.
things about being photographers, videographers in your profession with the water and having helicopters around, have you ever guys have any close calls or any wild rides or like, oh shit, what did we get ourselves into kind of things?
Have they?
Oh, plenty.
Yeah, we've had a few. Um, yeah, I mean, for like in Havasu, we have one guy that we fly with for the most part. I mean, we have a couple guys out here, but it's a small community, and it's like we try to stick with the same people that we fly with all the time. Same in Florida, we have a guy in Florida that we fly with a lot. We have obviously Tom Klein up there in Lake of the Ozarks, so we fly with a lot. And so that's nice because you get to fly with somebody that you're familiar with. You guys understand
Mhm.
each other's program. You know the guy's safe. You know he's qualified. It's just you can concentrate on what you're trying to do. But we travel all over the place, and you go to different locations, and you end up, sometimes you fly with somebody that you haven't met, and sometimes you don't know what that person's credentials are, or where the event found the guy, or uh, just you just don't know anything about the guy, so you're kind of rolling the dice when you jump in with somebody, and we try to vet them as much as you can. But you know, all of if you ever talk to a helicopter pilot, I mean, every one of them is like wrote the book on flying helicopters. So it doesn't matter if they're 10 hours or 10,000 hours. So you just never really know by asking. But yeah, we've had a couple. In Florida for a photo shoot down there a few years back. We took it was real sporty out. We were out near where were we at? Melbourne, Florida, and we were chasing a 450 Nortec, and he stuffed it into a wave, and we happened to be crabbing sideways, kind of at an angle behind the guy, and we took a wave through the helicopter. Ended up with like an inch of water in the floorboard of the helicopter, and
Holy shit.
that was pretty
Saltwater
interesting.
nonetheless.
So well, yeah, it wasn't Carter in the helicopter with me. It was another videographer, and he happened to be sitting on that side, and I mean, he just took it right in the face, and it just ruined his camera. His camera was junk after that. They had to throw it away.
That's
And
rough.
so that was an interesting one. We've had a couple others. We did one in Michigan where the guy almost landed on the bow of Randy Sism's 50 MTI, or actually it was Bob Kaiser's 50, but
Bob Kaiser's, yeah.
yeah, but Randy was driving. That was a scary one. It was really, really close. And the guy, nice guy, he just hadn't done that type of flying with, shooting photos and video out of a helicopter while you're pacing another vehicle. And so he was doing what he felt like was the right thing, which was flying the horizon to make sure he had, he was high enough off the water and things like that. And it turned out that would have been fine if we weren't also crossing over the front of the bow of the boat at the same time. And we had a near miss, and we got a good picture out of it. And I think we scared Sherelle Sissom to death. I don't think she likes to be in photo shoots anymore.
She's like hiding behind her Andy. Like,
yeah. The picture is it's just Sherelle diving out of the way, and everybody else is like, wide-eyed. And
I was in the second row, and
we
she shrieked,
yeah,
so loud, like. And I didn't see it obviously as close as Randy and Sherelle did, but yeah, it was close, and it was pretty.
We were. I mean, they were looking at the helicopter straight through the windshield, and as we were coming across the bow, and I was looking at the skid, thinking that's gonna hit the roof of that boat, and it's gonna get real weird after that. It didn't happen, but yeah. But we, as it should, like we made sure the helicopter pilot knew after that repeatedly that he almost killed us. I let him know about every 30 or 45 minutes that he almost killed us that day, and that we were glad to be alive.
Yeah,
and so
he's not Tom's fan.
No, he doesn't like me at all, actually. I don't know.
Man, yeah, what a trip that was. Yeah, we went out there to shoot a documentary and for Kaiser and whatnot, and do the photo shoot, and it was. I'd never been around the whole boat racing scene too, so that was really cool to be introduced to him and get to know all of that history. Is pretty cool. So
that was a really, really cool tip, cool shoot. I mean, just getting to sit and be a fly on the wall with the conversations that were happening with Bob Kaiser and Steve Curtis and Randy, and like it was nuts. It was cool. Yeah, it was worth almost dying for.
Yeah. I can't imagine the amount of wind that was coming off the blades. A good thing the MTI has a big old windshield and all that stuff, because when I'm racing boats, there's a lot of times there'll be a helicopter like sitting on a corner, like hovering there, like waiting for us to get there. So they're getting the shot as we're coming. And I'm like, man, tell that helicopter, I'll be on the radio just making a wreck, because I'm like, get that helicopter the fuck out of the way, because the amount of wind that I feel get under the boat and make the boat act all funny is crazy when there's helicopters flying right in front of us, or sitting there. And it's even worse when they're sitting there and really putting off a lot of prop wash, just hovering, because it just lifts the boat like crazy. But anyway,
I thought about that before, because I've definitely been in a helicopter when they were sitting there waiting for everybody to go under. That's interesting. I had thought about that before, but I've never talked to somebody on the other end of it. So from now on, I'll make sure that we're not doing that.
Well, when you're doing when you're doing a photo shoot at 60 mile an hour, it's way different than having your tunnel tab down at 130, or 140
mid race.
Well, no, we're definitely going to still do that to you in photo shoots, but we'll try not to do it at races.
In races,
I know, because it's rare that when I'm like driving a boat, I mean, I should do it more. I'd probably get more followers and all that crap, but to have my phone out and be video, because I drove boats today. I mean, if I did it all the time, but the only time that I feel that I pull my camera out is like in them early morning photo shoots, when you guys are like, I'm like, I don't want to look, because I might screw up the shot by like looking at you like, look at that. But I'll like pull my phone out and pull it out of my lap and be like, oh look man, look how close they are. And then sneak a picture.
I have
that's awesome.
Pictures like that when you're sneaking pics.
We do appreciate
that would have been
BTS,
a really good one if he didn't have his phone out.
You could almost touch fingers like ET.
Oh yeah, I mean literally. Yeah, and it's not like you can communicate. You just kind of look at it like, and then looking back at you like, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we do get mad when phones are out. We're like, put the phone away. Like,
oh god,
don't get into the shot because we can't use it.
Yeah.
And what's funny is a lot of times in those shoots, the temperature, because we're in Havasu, and it can be like 60 in the morning or 55 in the morning when it's going to be an 85-degree day, and Ray makes the girls wear their bikinis the whole time, and And then, you know, a lot of them will forget sunglasses and we'll be in a boat that has like 0 windshield on it and their hair's like straight back. And all they're doing to us in the boat is like, I'm freezing to death. I'm dying. There's water running out my eyes. You know, all this negativity. Except for if I have Miss with me and it's all just, it's just all butterflies and everything, like cookies
They're all,
and little
they're all
puppy
in
dogs.
parkas and like scarves before the
Yeah.
shoot. They have to like take them off, get on the boat, and they're
Yeah.
like, motherfucking me.
Warm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
They have to
Like-
act warm.
Right.
Yeah. Act warm even though you're froze.
Sometimes,
Yeah, they're like, I thought this was going to be fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
people don't get the memo about it being a photo shoot too, and they're, you know, there'll be the guy, the buddy. There's always the buddy that's hanging out of the back of the center console, like filming everything, and you know, he's
Yeah.
jumping up and down, and he's just like,
Ass
"Guys, sit
crack
down."
hanging out when he's holding onto the seat in front of
His
him.
shirt's over his head, and his belly's hanging out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fine when it's
I'm
a
usually
poker
that
run
guy.
and stuff because
Yeah.
that's what it's about. But yeah, when it's a photo shoot, you're like,
Yeah. When
So-
it's actual Speedboat Magazine, just like leave your buddy at home.
Yeah, it's
No,
not gonna make the cover.
And it's probably a lot of the time for Tommy is probably like, no, put them away. We won't be able to use that shot if you don't put them away.
And we try to coach
yeah.
them a little bit.
right. But sometimes they don't listen.
They just don't.
Yeah.
They don't,
Yeah.
and that's, you know, it's free will. What are you going to do about
Yeah.
it?
And that's what
Yeah.
keeps it fun and interesting.
Totally.
But to that point, both of you guys have a really dialed in program where you guys, Carter, you normally sit in the front next to the pilot and you shoot your video, and Tommy, you get the back. Generally, I mean, preferably you get the whole back seat so you can use the length of the bench to use both your cameras or whatever gear you have up there with you.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Like, you guys have been doing it so long, it's almost like, I don't know, surgery where you guys like, because I know there's been complaints with other photographers that work with Carter. They're like, oh, well, he had his lens out there. I'm like, but you guys kind of work off each other and know how to
Well,
We
predict
definitely have a system for
I
sure.
just reach up and slap Carter and he moves his lens out of the way. You
I
know?
always end up in a few photos, but yeah,
No,
they'll just be like, pull back a
we-
little bit, you know. Or
We've been doing it for a long time, and Carter and I shoot very similarly. So, you know, Carter kind of knows how far out he can be, and I, you know, I'll wait and let him get his shot too. I don't have to take 5,000 photos. So I'll wait until he gets that shot, because if he gets in that position, it's a better shot. So I'll let him do that, and I'll just tell him on the, you know, because we're all mic'd up in there. So I'll just tell him, hey, you know, pull back just a little bit, and he'll pull his lens out of the way, and I'll do the stuff I need to do.
Yep.
You know, so yeah, it's, you know, we've done, God, I don't even know, we've done the hundreds at least of you know, in the high hundreds, I would say, you know, photo shoots of boats, and so we just kind of know what to expect and what's going to happen, and I know what Carter's going to do when, and he doesn't have to worry too much about it. He can't see what I'm doing, but you know, I just tell him if something's in the way, I just tell him, hey, just pull back a little bit, and so that kind of communication works really good. Or, you know, we're communicating with the pilot too, and I can ask the pilot just to crop sideways a little bit, just to kind of open up the shot. And you know, when you're working with a pilot that you know and you've flown with before, you get a rhythm going, and everybody's working together in there. We really, honestly, what we should do is mic everybody up in there. Although I don't know how much of that we could really release for the public, because it gets funny up there. But
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it is interesting though. We have a good time up there. The pilots that we work with are all good guys, and they're you know, so it's you know, you're up there just as a team, you know, working on what you're doing.
We'd like to thank our first sponsor of the podcast, Adam Serafine, and he has put together a development in Osage Beach, Missouri, called Harper's Cove. Myrick, tell us about that.
Yeah, so we actually went over and checked it out the other day. Lots of waterfront lots, a pool house, big, large dock, community dock that, you know, we'll be able to have a lot of boats down there. And I feel that it's going to be a lot of power boaters that fill this place up, because the people that I've here that are building houses there are all power boaters. So to me, it kind of gives it that guy that wants to have a because there are a lot of lots that are second tier also, but it's that guy that wants to have the lack of maintenance, like a condo kind of feel, because come in, just enjoy your time there, go boating, and then leave. And that's what I feel that this property is really doing. I know that there's Rusty's building a house there, which, him being, a really good salesman and a really good taker care of his customers.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be, and I think there already is. I just don't know off the top of my head names of customers that are building houses in there that are power boaters that are gonna, basically fill those docks up with badass boats, and then being really close to Osage Beach on Case Road, and then being really close to, where the shootout's going to be, being really close to Performance Boat Center. And that's pretty much the beauty of the logistics of that place. And if you were to go there by water, you go back in the cove past Kellysport, which is a no-wake cove. So those people that want to leave their boat in a slip and not worried about it getting rocked all over the place, even if you don't have a lift, that'll be able to happen. So that's what I mean. I live in a small little cove, nothing like the size they're talking about, but the fact that it's no wake is huge on Lake of the Ozarks, because your friends can come over and tie up their boats to your dock and not worrying about a 55 Sea Ray going by and putting it on top of the dock if it isn't positioned correctly. And I know there's a lot of docks that way around the lake, but you definitely don't run into that issue here at Harper's Cove. And and I really appreciate getting some sponsorship from Harper's Cove.
Yep. Thanks, Adam.
People that don't know, Tommy specializes in stills, Carter specializes in video. So
yeah.
And a lot of times, it takes the boat driver as well. So, if the boat driver is doing what we told him to do, it makes our job 10 times easier as well. As far as keeping it straight and speed wise, but Myrick's awesome.
Kick me while I'm down. Yeah, that's cool.
Myrick knows what he's doing.
Yeah. There's a few guys that were like, okay, well, we'll just catch them on the way back, I guess.
That's what the hard part is.
Some of the boats will do 150 plus, and the helicopter does about 100 to 120. So, we can't keep up with everybody.
Yeah, well, one of my favorite stories of that is like one of the several years ago when you guys first started bringing the performance powerboats out to Lake Havasu, and you guys had like a fleet of them. I'd say, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 of them out, and you were driving one, and Rusty was driving another, and it was a sunrise photo shoot.
Blount was there.
It was a sunrise photo shoot and taking off, and Tommy and Carter are in the helicopter chasing you, and it's like told you, like, keep it around 60 to 70 and space yourselves out, and don't outrun the helicopter, and that stuck for, I don't know, few minutes, and then next thing
you give Rusty and I slick ass water and a boat full of people and 2 boats that are identical in power and speed,
I'm getting text messages from Tommy. He's like, oh, they took off, they're gone.
I think actually that day that we were running hard enough and the helicopter pilot they had to like let the helicopter cool down or something because you had to land for a little bit. Isn't that right? That you've had to do that before?
If you have to, like, if you land to shut down, you have to let the helicopter come down to temperature before you shut it down. And
they were taking refueling was taking way too long because of all of that.
So they get back to
text you, and I'm like, well, they're just going too fast. They're like, they're gone. And Ray's usually like text back from Ray is like, fuck's sake.
Yeah. Myrick and Rusty get back to dock. I'm like, dude, you guys outran the helicopter. They're like, sorry, but we never get glass like this out in Ozarks.
Exactly.
You can't blame them.
I'm like,
Yeah.
good
We
point.
got like five badass boats lined up that are all identical, you know, that you've been part of, and the customers are immediately like, nail it too.
Customers are, yeah. What we do in Desert Storm and Super Cat Fest out here, we do a couple weeks worth of private photo shoots for boat owners, and they can hire us to go out and shoot them. And they usually have their friends on board or their wife or, you know, whoever. And that's always interesting because those guys don't normally do photo shoots. We've got some guys that do it every year, but a lot of them don't normally do that. So it'll be, you know, like, yeah, they'll get it on plane and just leg it. And you're like, okay, well, no photos for you.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, you know, with that program, you know, and the biggest compliment I get when I put these guys in helicopters is when I hear back from the either the pilot or the company and said, wow, those guys are true professionals. It was awesome working with them, which is always great to hear, right? And but then there's a flip side where, you know, Tommy and Carter of companies like, you know, I don't feel comfortable with this this pilot. I don't think he's got the chops for it. And I'm like, fair enough, don't go.
Yeah,
you know, it's
absolutely.
not worth, you know, the risk with somebody that you're not comfortable with. And these guys have done it so many times that they know right off the bat whether or not they can get the job done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I went up with August Bush in his helicopter, and we were on his dock. I had been working on his boat, and he says, okay, we're going to go up. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. You know, I'll just work on the boat and get out of here. And he's like, no, buddy, you're going with me. I'll take it as an insult if you're not going. I'm like, it's like, okay, man. And then like then I'm in there, I'm flying right seat and get off the ground. And, you know, this thing it's got autopilot and it's got all this thing, but all the time in your headphones, it's pretty much like danger, watch out, danger, bluff, danger. You know, it's like got these
terrain.
Yeah, terrain. You're like, it's telling you all this stuff when you're flying low, where you know most people don't fly. Right. And so at that point, I'm like, man, I was like, this is pretty cool. He's like, yeah, and he's like kind of going through this little safety briefing. Don't touch this, don't do that. And he goes, yeah, and if we go down, I'm going to put it in real shallow water. Just make sure to open the door right before we hit so the door don't get stuck. And I'm like, what? Like this is not, I mean, it's like it's like when you're in the airplane and they got the life vest out and they're telling you to blow into that tube. You're like, if it makes it to that, fuck it, I'm out anyway. You know, I'm out there in the water blowing into this tube after I make it out of this airplane. You know, gee, many Christmas. But anyway, there's my bad judgment on, I wouldn't say bad judgment, but my judgment call on, man, I probably shouldn't be doing this, but now I'm doing it, you know, so let's make it through it.
Honestly, I would rather have the pilot that gave me the instructions on what to do when we crash than have the guy that skips all that. Because I found that most of the guys that really do that, like a long briefing that way, are pretty dialed. You know, at least he's dialed. Like if it does go wrong, they at least have a plan. So that shows me something. That's one of the things you kind of look for. You know, some of these guys are a little bit too, you know, they're just pretty cavalier, pretty just laid back about everything. You're like, you don't have to be cool for me, man. I just want to do this and survive and, you know, go to dinner later. So
yeah. Well, it was in flying with August, I forget what he said. I forget one time he was like, he went to like get some special training in the helicopter, and it was like the guy that was training, that was a Navy SEAL, didn't have as many hours as August because August had been had a helicopter since he was a teenager or something, you know. So you start to add up all the time over all those years. But he was talking about being able to get the blades, you know, at this certain speed and get the slip down, and you're supersonic, or no, the radar can't pick you up, whatever that is. And I was like, Oh yeah, so you need that for, you know, just like regular helicopter. You know? It's like, yeah, it's not supersonic, but it's like radar can't pick you up because the speed of your blades. It's like getting the boat to no slip is basically what it was. And so then we're out there trying that, going up and down the channel. I'm shitting my pants.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But it's also so cool once you get used to it. I mean, we're going right down the main channel. Like, I think it was like 120 mile an hour because I think it was mostly knots on the thing. And we go over the dam, down on the river. You know, you're just like, oh my gosh, this is so freaking cool. And then, yeah. And we get back and we land. I was like, man, if I had one of these, I would never take my boat out. I would just be like, why are we taking the boat when we can be in the helicopter right where all the boats are? Just flying. Yeah.
Helicopters are hard to beat. There's nothing like it, really.
Yeah.
You can do anything you want to do with it.
Yeah. So Carter, I mean, I know you're obviously videography into drones and stuff. Have you ever flown the drones that you just put a mask on and you can drive it around?
Like FPV, like the goggles.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Not a face mask, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah, so
FPV, whatever that acronym is for.
So some of the shoots we do in Havasu, sometimes we don't always have access to the helicopter, so we will, do some FPV drone work, flying off the boat, and we'll also do boat to boat, where Tommy will shoot photos and I'll drive the boat, and then vice versa, we'll swap and get really close to him. So. Cool. Sometimes we don't always use a helicopter. We've got different things that we do. So a variety. Yeah.
But what's it like having that headset on flying around?
It's pretty cool. It's if you've never done it, it's an experience. It's pretty cool. It's disorienting when you're on a floating boat and the boat's rocking all over the place and your drone's not rocking, and it really trips you out. So you kind of got to get used to that.
Yeah,
we kind of have a thing where Carter's, when he's wearing the goggles flying the drone, he can't see anything except for what's in the screen of the goggles. So we like to pose with him and around him, because he's totally oblivious of what's going around him. And
I can hear everybody laughing.
Sometimes we have other people pose around him.
Yep. Oh yeah, for sure.
So
he doesn't get to see it till afterwards.
Yeah, he's oblivious, but of course there's always pictures taken of it.
I'm like, that's what was going on while I was locked in. That's awesome.
Yeah. I was out there in Havasu one time and came around the end of the what do they call it? The island, I guess. And right down where they run the shootout, and I was in Tubby's 32 that we built for him, and I was flying. I had 450s on it. Thing was a rocket, and I was running like 115, hauling ass, and all of a sudden I hear this wild noise, like, and I'm like, oh man, I lost a belt or I lost a pulley on the engine, to where it was like, something, looking down at the smart craft waiting for an alarm to go off, because I heard this beforehand. It's the way it usually is. So I left, and all of a sudden it like gets louder, and it's one of those little drones right on top of me. I mean, so I was going 115, he was going that fast to stay with me, I mean, or 100, whatever it was, but it was going faster than any drone I'd ever freaking seen.
Yeah, those things are ripping.
Yeah, they were awesome.
The RPMs that it had was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely make some noise when you can hear them over the boat.
Carter always gets excited when we're chasing. He's chasing the boat because I'll be in the boat with him, and he'll be like, "Oh, I'm right down inside the boat with him." And I'm like, "In the boat." I'm like, "Don't kill anybody."
Oh yeah.
We have one of those, not one that goes that fast, but an FPV, and we always get a place at the ledges, and we used to chase the poke run like on water and stuff, but it's just difficult. So being on the ledges, we get the top floor of the balcony and we just shoot from there. Tommy's got a long lens, and Carter will take his FPV and fly it out and like rally up around the boats that go past.
Just keep swapping batteries all day, and we're even barbecuing out there and just hanging out watching all the boats come by.
It
works well.
Yeah. But that being said, I mean, a lot of people are surprised to learn when they hear that this is both of these guys' one and only gig. I mean, Tommy is a full-time professional photographer. Carter is a full-time professional videographer. And other than when they're not working with us at Speedboat, they freelance other stuff all the time. And other photographers, it blows their minds, right? Because that's usually their side hustle or their passion or their hobby. And you've gotten some pretty interesting remarks about that, Tom.
About people people ask all the time. They're just like, so what do you do for a living? And I'm like, this. I take pictures for a living. What do you mean? Oh, well, you don't, like, what's your normal job? What's your like day-to-day job? And I set out 12 years ago to make a living with my camera, and that's what I do. So people sometimes are a little surprised by that, and understandably, it's you're like, we're not getting rich doing it, but it's been awesome. Like, starting off with literally nothing, and I kind of fell into the boating industry. I mean, I've always been a boating enthusiast and have my ski boats and stuff like that, and just kind of fell into the boating industry, and I was really lucky with timing and people that helped me out when I first started, that I was able to just kind of scratch by for a couple of years until I learned how to do what I'm doing. Because when I started, I was really, really bad at this. But I was able to fake it till I make it, sort of, right. Not that I feel like I've necessarily made it, but I was able to figure it out, and had the means of picking up photography work to be able to figure it out. And Carter, this is what Carter's always done. So he same
Yeah, it's
thing.
really
Like,
the only job I've ever had. So
yeah, he picked up something early on in life, and here he is, just still doing it. So it's pretty cool. But it's not the easiest way to make a living, for sure. And I mean, everybody sees all the fun part, but you can see the computers behind me. That's where I've been in this office for the last 3 days. I haven't even seen the sunlight. So
that's why I've gotten to witness that, being on the MCon Monster team, because we got Matt and Jason there, and literally, I mean, they're shooting out there, every once in a while, but then you go in the rig and they're sitting in front of their computers inside the support trailer. Like, they take up half of the back with all of their gear and both computers and batteries charging everywhere. I mean, it's it takes a lot to do what you guys do, especially equipment wise.
Yeah, it's always exciting.
All of Carter's hair products, they take up a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what he makes up in or what he messes in shoes, he makes up in hair products, right?
Yeah, that's
exactly.
right.
Shoes don't take up very much space.
No, flippy floppy.
Yeah, that and treats. He likes his treats.
Yeah. Ray's always hooking it up with the M&Ms. That's my editing snack for sure. My go-to.
Missy's a peanut M&M.
Yep, same.
That's what she loves.
No, you go back and forth.
He does. He does.
That's true. Sometimes I cheat on the peanut ones. But yeah, for sure it is. It's one thing being out there all day shooting, and then it's like, dude, you got to figure out how to put this all together in a timely fashion too. So it's time consuming for sure.
Carter, talk to that. I mean, like, obviously when you started with a certain camera gear, and you've worked your way up. Now you're shooting with what a lot of videographers consider like one of the top, with the red camera.
Yeah, red Komodo.
Yeah, and it's just awesome to see how you've progressed in your cinematic style and your way of shooting and editing. How do you keep learning and staying on top of that?
Thank you. Yeah, I think just being around, and just like constantly learning and constantly shooting stuff totally helps. I think having a variety of things to shoot, just not the same thing over and over again. Like Tommy touched on, like we shoot, weddings as well and all kinds of different things. That totally helps. And I think seeing, other people's work too is cool. You know, what's trending, what's the style, and obviously you have your own style, but yeah, I just think you just got to get out there and just keep shooting. You just learn something every single day. Honestly, it's
That's funny
pretty
that you
cool.
say
Yeah.
that, because I'm noticing it more with looking at Instagram to how a guy might, try to catch your eye doing something and then hold it for what is there a time limit, like a super low time limit nowadays, like 8
Right, the
seconds?
attention span's really low.
Yeah, you don't want it to be like more than 30 seconds or something like that. It's like our
Exactly.
podcast is an hour. That's why nobody watches it.
Right, and
Because
we used to do long, we used to do long videos, and it's like, no, people want 30-second, 1 minute video, and you get right to the point. But
Yeah.
yeah, everything
It's
just
cool
keeps
that-
evolving and changing. Yeah.
Social media has changed the game a lot. I mean, it's the photography and videography business is so much different now than it was even 10 years ago, just because of the impact of social media. You know, every single business out there has a real need for content, both video and photography, and so that the social media is what's feeding that. So people have to constantly be dumping new content into that in order to stay relevant, in order to get in front of customers. You know, it's most of your marketing is done with social media now. So literally every business out there has to have some sort of presence for it. And if they want to have, if they want that to be effective, they've got to have content to post up that's new and fresh and keeps people interested. So it's a good time to be, in the media business. But you definitely are working harder for less money. You know, you've got to work on a volume basis rather than, getting some, back in the day, you could land like some big commercial contracts throughout the year. You have like 4 or 5 shoots throughout the year and you're set for the year. And now it's like, if you're not shooting every weekend,
well,
you're going to struggle.
Which I know you guys know him, but Carson, full time for MTI, Stash is what I always call him. But
Shane Gillis.
He used to, exactly. Used to work for Performance, now works for MTI, but he's great at it. Riley Will for us has been doing a really good job. And I mean, literally put a 42V in the water today, and he was probably on it for 5 hours, going around at different angles, different cameras, stuff like that. So it's pretty cool for those customers. And, spend 1.4 million to have some killer video that they can go to show off their product, that was basically either thrown in or helped put there to help sell it or things like that, or just show how cool it.
Absolutely.
You have to have it. And I tell those guys all the time, I'm super impressed with both of those guys, both young guys. They're both
same,
kind of in their first real gig with content creation, and they just kill it. I mean, they're so good. It's frustrating for me that they're so good because they do stuff and I'm like, okay, like the stuff that, some of the stuff they're doing with drones, it's, we've been doing that for a long time with helicopters, but they're crushing the same imagery with drones. And so they're, those guys are changing the game a little bit. It's cool. Like, and they're both really good guys. So it's fun being on events with those guys.
What gets me is they always, I was always used to being the young guy in the crowd around being boats, but now I'm the old guy in the crowd. And it's funny because they'll come in and do like, I forget the things that, they did one with, Riley did one. I forget. It was probably TikTok, but it hit 1 million some hits. And it was literally like, one of our older salesmen, Big Mike, saying stuff like a young person would say, like no cap or whatever, and
He's
it's
like
just like, you guys have got this approved by Mark. They let you put it on there, and they're like, oh yeah, he said it's cool, and I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. It's the most hits.
Crushes.
It works.
The
so good.
most.
Yeah.
This boat is fat, no cap. 190 and a cat, say less. No cap, this thing bussin'. This cat low-key thick. This boat be bumping. Quint 450s, we finna rip. Drop the Addy, I'll have my plug hit you up.
Yeah, it's so good.
like,
I've watched those videos over and over again. They're so funny.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
It's funny.
You
The
know?
one that I'm always like, don't put me in it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to be there. It's funny.
One of my favorites is the one Michael did with Sensation.
The Sensation,
Oh,
yeah.
Sensation.
German Mercedes model.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't unsee it.
Yeah.
No.
Mercedes.
Sensation.
Mercedes.
Sensation.
Mercedes.
Sensation.
Mercedes.
Sensation.
And I can never see him on a Sensation and not think it or say it to him.
Right?
I can't even see him without thinking it.
Never.
Oh, you should have seen the shop today. He came in the shop. I told Brett, I said, you need to talk to your salesman. Tell them they can't come over service because they fuck it all up. Because he brought the world's hottest gummy bear. It's like 9 million Scoville or something. I think it's 9 million Scoville, which whatever that is, you know, a jalapeno is hot to me, even though I am a Japanese chef, you know, the hot stuff stays around with me nowadays, but
El
it's
Diablo.
literally, they have a video of him in the bathroom, in the garbage can, sitting on the toilet, like dying, you know, because this thing was so hot. He had a clock out. I was like, I found out about afterwards. I'm like, where's Jackson been? They're like, oh, Michael gave him the hottest gummy bear in the world, and he's been in the bathroom for an hour recovering. You're like, oh. I was like, I hope he clocked out. And they go, he said he did. He did. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
He's awesome.
Freaking Michael. He's always into some kind of shenanigans. Where were we in Miami where he just had a bunch of those Sensation stickers and he was slapping them on everything? Cars driving by. Oops.
Yeah, so awesome.
That's better than having a banner on a plane. Like the one Miami boat show where it says buyer beware of Performance Boat Center. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
Dude,
oh my God.
I couldn't fucking believe it. I mean, literally we're standing there on the dock at the Miami Boat Show, and I'm like, the fuck's that banner say? Performance Boat Center. And I'm like, and Brett looks up of it real quick, and he's like, he says something like, oh, like Mindy, because Mindy was new to the group then, and he's like, oh, Mindy like got us a banner plane. And I was like, it says buyer beware Performance Boat Center. And we're like, Brett says to me, don't look at it. I'm like, don't look at it. Because I'm sure it's because I'm drawing attention. That fucking plane went around the Miami Boat Show for 4 days. I could tell the tone of the plane's exhaust when it got close. And then Johnny's calling me from North Miami. He's like, dude, who'd you piss off? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, that plane's up here flying over TNT. It's just running up and down the beach. I'm like, what? And anyway, it's some fountain deal that the guy, and he had put a website up and like, you know, hated us, had like them billboard cars in town with the same shit on it to where, so now, you know, it's hilarious to everybody. Now that you tell them the story, it's like, it's a fountain with big Sterlings, you know, came to our shop, we put it for sale. Guy said, hey, can you have it here like in a day? because I want it for 4th of July weekend. We put it in the water, we fire it up, we show videos of it running, all this, and then it leaves and goes to him. And then 2 months later, a month later, you hear, I blew up an engine. It's going to cost me $100,000, and you're like, what do you want me to do? I mean, I didn't, there's no warranty. This thing's 5 years old and, has 2,000 or even maybe more, maybe 3,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
But, they're lucky they run at all, let alone, and, yeah, so that's what got us in. And then Brett's like gives him what I just said to him, in a much nicer way. And then it's like, well, fuck you. I'm going to fly banner planes around the boat show. Dude, literally, I got a picture. I'll have to get it for you,
That's
Ray.
wild.
By the end of the weekend, it was comedy because, at first you're like, man, what'd we do?
Yeah.
This is a really bad one. I don't know about what happened, and then you're like dialing the number or looking at the online page they had made and trying to figure out what's going on. You're like, he's pissed. It's a fountain. You're like, it's like trying to figure out. Then you're like, finally, remember that dude? It's like, oh man,
dude, I had completely forgotten about that. But yeah, that was
crazy.
Oh my God. It was so comic that at the end of the weekend, I've got a picture of Brett and I, like last day of the Miami Boat Show, just sunburnt because you're out in that sun for like 4 days on them docks.
You look like
and
Carter.
the planes in the background, with the banner right behind it. I'm selfie like this. I'm holding it. Brett's leaning over my shoulder, smiling, and the planes in the background.
Oh, that's gold. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I know. I was like, here, get over here. Like he went from telling me not to look at the airplane flying by
with it.
to taking selfies with it. Like, wasn't it right? They say time heals all.
Yeah. When any press is good press.
Yeah.
So that's what everybody kept saying. I was like, well, I can't wait to call Mark on this one.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
great.
That's awesome.
Well, you guys, it's been good talking with you. We'll be working together here soon enough, starting with the Lake Havasu Boat Show that we'll cover for Mercury Racing. That leads right into Desert Storm. Then we're off to the Bahamas. Then we're off to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But it was good talking to you guys and letting the people know exactly your process of how we get covers like these and the awesome videos that we get to post up from Carter on our social media. And that was the thing, years ago, I remember one of my competitors was telling me, he's like, why are you spending so much time on video? When we are print media. I go, well, it's just eye candy. And that's kind of what social media is asking for anymore. Yeah. So I'm glad I stuck with that. I'm glad I got paired up with you guys, and you guys, I think are the best in the industry, and we really work well together, have a good time. Like Carter said earlier, we work hard, but then we also learn to play well as well. So
Tommy always has no good
free day.
Yeah,
no free day.
Yeah, we can't use that word.
Tommy always finds us good. He always finds us good, like off the beaten path places to eat, though. Well, or in his buddy's place, that Mexican restaurant in Havasu.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah. That's gone, right?
Yeah. That's gone, but he opened up a restaurant at Hawks Cay. And,
sweet.
No
so
shit.
when we down the MTI run, I ate there like 3 nights, and it's just killer. It's so good.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not a Mexican restaurant. It's they do a lot of steaks and seafood, and it's all they have it's like a farm to table. They have a farm up in Homestead, and they do all this other. It's just amazing food.
Where's it
at Hawks?
Where's it at Hawks Cay?
It's where the like the little store, like the little convenience store was, where they had the pizzas. They built a restaurant in there. Yeah, the marketplace. And
so out by the pool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
I was pissed when that
really
that little when that breakfast place was gone. I'm like, where the hell did the coffee and the breakfast sandwiches and stuff go?
Yeah,
I didn't realize
the coffee inside. They got
I know
that
it
61
sucks
prime
compared
or whatever
to where it used to be. I was pissed. I go there enough. But I guess it's under new ownership because one of the dock guys was bitching too about how much less benefits they get and stuff like that, and different time off and all kinds of stuff. So it must be under new ownership.
There's some interesting stuff going on down there. So see how it goes.
Well, good luck to your buddy. His Mexican stuff was awesome.
Yeah, that was really tasty.
I think he's going to do good with it. So I was happy for him.
If he needs any pointers from a Japanese chef, just tell him to call him.
He might need your help a little bit.
Shogun misses you.
They could do some Asian fusion down there.
We'll have loaded tater tots, and it'll be the #1 seller, like Bob's Calamari. That's what you'll be hearing from me. Like Bob's Calamari at that one place.
At the Nautical.
Yeah. Was it still on there, or did they take it off?
They changed it.
It's still on there.
Is it?
But they still have the calamari.
Yeah, I think they took it away and then they brought it back.
Bob probably wrote a letter.
Calamari anymore, though.
Yeah, he probably wrote another letter. I think he wrote a letter. Is what his story is. Heard that story like 5 times. I love it.
That's awesome.
Right.
Time we go down there to the tiki.
Yeah. Well, the next time we'll be seeing each other in person is in Lake Havasu City, Arizona for Desert Storm, or at least the 4 of us, and then sooner for the 3 of us. So good talking with you guys. Thanks for the awesome chat, Myrick.
Yeah,
good
way to have better Wi-Fi this time, Carter.
So Carter, out of all the runs that we do, the events that we cover, what's been your favorite?
Hello, Carter.
Carter.
I think he lost sound. Good thing you're good at videography.
Blink if you can hear us.
How's it going, Carter?
She's just smiling and nodding. Yeah, he's like, yeah.
My service is not doing well. Sorry.
I think it's just a cardboard
have
cutout.
Wi-Fi there?
I know it is. Look at that smile, just locked up.
He's a cardboard cutout.
Yeah, that's his cardboard cutout. That's perfect. We should just get one of this picture right here and just carry it around with us.
Havasu has better Wi-Fi.
And for all of you that don't know, this is the second time we're doing this.
Take 2, yeah.
Take 2.
Round 2.
So
because
of all the surf bums.
Yeah, he was in the Motel 3.5, and
out
the
there in California.
Stuff, it was in dial-up mode, and everybody
was on Tinder or Instagram trying to load up on the beach there, and had his Wi-Fi all jammed.
Yeah. So I throw a question to Carter, and we would just get his frozen face right up in the camera.
Yeah, that's because of what it was like last time. It was just, we called him Max Headroom. The old Coke commercial.
It made it impossible for sure. Oh man.
All right, well thanks you guys.
Bust your balls.
Yeah. Myrick, thank you. Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share. And we will be back with another episode of the Boats and Bros podcast very soon. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Myrick.
Yeah, buddy.
This podcast is powered by Speedboat Magazine. Subscribe now at speedboat.com for 9 power-packed current issues a year direct to your mailbox.